It's time to turn your machine on, get it set up, and let's get threaded, show you all the basics and tricks of the trade. So first off, go ahead and find, you've got your power switch over here, your place for your power cord that you've plugged into a surge protector, please, please, please. Or better yet, a battery backup. Don't plug it directly into a wall. This is a computer. You want to make sure that those circuit boards stay nice and safe. There is also one other cord in your accessory box, and that needs to be plugged into the foot control, and then that is a separate place that plugs into the side of your machine. So we'll go ahead, we'll put that down on the floor there and get ready to thread up. How exciting. Now there is thread in the machine, but watch this. When I go and take this thread out, I'm going to go ahead and cut my thread up here and pull my thread out the bobbin or the needle. That way everything goes through the machine and not backwards. Once you start sewing, a lot of lint gathers up here, so you'll see me throughout the videos clipping and pulling through if I'm changing thread around. Also, there is a bobbin in here, so if you wanted to, you could have just started sewing and be at least a bobbin's worth of distance before you had to do any of this. Let's go ahead though and talk about winding a bobbin. I'm going to show you some tricks too. We're going to talk about all the how-to, what to watch for. This little accessory box will sit on the back side of your machine and really just help give you a little extra support at the back side. Spool caps. Let's go ahead and lay our thread down and use a spool cap to hold that in place. Make sure you don't leave any distance in here, otherwise the thread sometimes will find its way. This is a thread that I consider cross-wound thread. The thread kind of X's back and forth here, so I do like to lay that down. Thread that is stack thread, where the thread goes all the way up the spool, I like to stand up vertically and then of course remove the spool cap. You don't need that on there for a vertical setup. For the thread, make sure your presser foot is up. If it is down, you want to touch the button that touches the foot and brings it to the highest position. We're going to take our hands, go over the silver arm here, and then underneath. Now, a lot of you will probably just wind your bobbin from here. Go ahead and click the thread underneath this little pre-tensioner. This is the only time we use it, is when we wind a bobbin. Then we'll come right over here and I'll show you. But I'm going to actually show you the second way of winding a bobbin, because you can actually thread the machine, be sewing along, run out of bobbin, and not have to unthread the machine to wind a bobbin. We're going to take it directly from the needle up across the front and to that. So let's go ahead and thread the machine first, and then we will wind. So you want to come down. Notice I'm kind of holding my thread over here with my right hand, and that's because right here where I'm coming straight down on this right groove, that's where the tension is. You want to make sure you get your thread all the way down into that tension area before you come up. And with you holding that a little bit more, it's going to really make sure to get as deep as it's supposed to. Then you're going to follow the little arrows. You're coming up in here, and this is a take-up lever in here. All you need to do is go all the way to the on the right side to the back and bring it over and bring it down on the left side. That's easy. One guide at the top of your needle. Open on the left side, so go ahead and take your fingers and pull that. That brings the thread nice and close to the needle. Now, I'm going to use the needle threader next. We will do a video close-up of it, but it's so nice that it actually pulls the thread through, and you don't have to be down there with a poking it through. Enough of that. All right, I'm going to put the thread underneath my presser foot, and now we're ready to wind the bobbin. Notice these two little silver bars. That's actually part of the thread being protected, so it's not running directly over the housing of your machine. And let's do this. I'm going to just go ahead, cut a fresh point, and let's talk bobbins. Notice on your green Husqvarna Viking bobbins, they have an H on them. That is always going to be up when we wind a bobbin and also when we drop it into the machine. So you never do it wrong. We are going to take the thread and kind of from the inside to out. There is a hole that will bring that right on up through there. Then we'll put the bobbin onto the bobbin winder. Give it a little spin if it doesn't go down all the way, and then push the bobbin winder to the right. That engages it, and also notice you have a new screen that comes up. So this means that you do not have to have the foot control plugged in to wind a bobbin. So when you're winding bobbins for embroidery and you don't have it plugged in, it's okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm holding my thread up here at the top, about a couple inches above the bobbin, not going to let go of that, and I'm going to go ahead and push play. As soon as I go ahead and start it, the bobbin winder will spin. Now I'm going to give you a little hint right here. There is a bobbin sensor in this machine, so it's going to alert you when the bobbin is low. And some people go, gosh, it looks like there's so much extra thread on there. And that's because if you notice in a bobbin, there's kind of a top little ridge in there. Let me pull one out so you can really get an idea. Inside the ridge area right up here is going to fill in first when we start to wind this bobbin. Then the thread gets jumped down to the bottom part and then fills it all the way up. As soon as the bottom part is empty is when the sensor shoots the light through and alerts you, hey, you're out of bobbin. But you've got all this thread up here that it still can be used up. So if you want to trick the sensor, that's the whole point of me telling you this. What you're going to see me do is I'm going to hold this thread, and maybe I'll just slow it down just a little bit. That's what this is for. And we'll start it. I'm going to, after it takes a couple spins, I'm going to tap my finger on this thread. And then that way it's going to jump down below. It's only going to leave a little bit of thread up in that area so that it actually, I'm going to go ahead and stop it here and clip this all the way off here. So there's less up here for it to keep in that area. Sensor will go off, no big deal there. Okay, so let's go ahead, we'll just run this fast, and as soon as it is full, it will stop spinning, and we will continue on. Actually, the machine's already threaded, so all we're going to do is put the bobbin in and see our new machine sew. We'll do a video on how to put the bobbin in. We'll get nice and close for you. When it's done, it'll go ahead and stop spinning. So, and then there's a little cutter right up here. So all you have to do is take your bobbin off and then come around that cutter. You don't even have to find your scissors for that. So we are ready to drop the bobbin in. Same thing, H is on the top. I can see it. So that drops that in. There's a little groove at the bottom part about 6 o'clock. Click that in. We're going over the top part here, down underneath a little the cutter, but before I pull the thread against the cutter, I'm going to put my door over it. Notice on the door, that little circle, that is a magnifying glass. La la, love it. All right, so if you need to see anything close, that's perfect. Then, door's on, pull the thread. If you want to cut this a little bit lower, you can use the little cutter that's on the side of your machine. Take a piece of fabric and fold it in half. And then all we are going to do is put our fabric underneath our presser foot and start to sew. Put your foot on the foot control and the foot will come down and off you go. We are sewing. Now when we're done, we can use the selective thread cutter, the scissors right here on the front function button panel, and touch that. It's going to cut your thread, lift the foot, and all you have to do is pull that out. Ta-da! So next what we're going to do is kind of get into a little bit more close-up. We'll do the needle threader video, we'll do how to put that bobbin in, and then we're going to get into how you select stitches and all the cool things that you have with this wonderful touch screen.